I mean, look, don't fall sick in Tafel. It won't be a good experience for you. Certainly not right now. But let's understand why and how widespread this problem is. Kwame Sarpong Asiedu joins us. Kwame, it's deja vu, right? We're talking about a hospital with no beds. We're talking about a hospital with patients on the floor. But I think it's a bit of a surprise that this is Tafel. I mean, right in the heart of Kumasi. How much worse is this problem getting without our noticing?
Kojo, good morning again. I'm surprised you're saying it's a bit of a surprise. You see, we have a country where sometimes you become almost a broken record. The basics of all this is me asking myself, how do we take decisions when it comes to our healthcare? Why is it not a surprise to me? And why is it a surprise to you? And I'll address it that way. Look, we live in a country where we have a lot of data. So we have the Health Harmonization Assessment Report, which is a government document. We have the Demographic Health Survey, which is a Ghana Statistical Service document. All the ills of our health systems are contained in these documents. These documents are what in healthcare you call a health needs assessment. So, for example, I'm not surprised because I know 95% of our hospitals do not have the basic equipment to even diagnose a patient when they go in. And it's not me saying it. As Kojo, it's in the Health Harmonization Assessment Report released in July 2022. But what do? We take decisions that are out of these official documents for parochial political interest. So the question I ask myself is this. So that maternity block that has been there for 23 years, and this hospital, which was an urban health center that is now serving Tafel, for all that period, have they not had a municipal chief executive? Have they not had MPs? Are they aware of the needs of their society? Do these MPs and the the metropolitan or district chief executives, do they know the population growth rate local to Tafel? Have they checked to see if their health facilities are expanding at least in accordance to the growth rate? The answers are no. But we'll see the same MPs perambulating around making noise about things that are totally unnecessary. We'll see the MPCs stand about and praising their political demagogues. That is why we are here. Because even when we have the data to say that this is bad, and gladly so, you're saying that this is in Ashanti region, it's worse in other regions. You see health facilities and they are despicable. I'm sorry, but in certain countries, people would not even take their pets to a vet like that. And it's not that we don't know. We have the data and we know. So, and that's why I'm saying that I'm surprised you're saying you're surprised, because all this data has been published. But as they always say, the best way to deceive a Ghanaian is to hide things in plain sight. So yes, this is in plain sight. Patients go there. We have the data to back that is what it is. But nobody knows, because that's how to deceive Ghanaians.
Kwame, I'm trying to think of whether it is realistic for us to expect such a problem to be solved. We are told that the current administration came to meet a deep hole of outstanding obligations at the health ministry of almost 18 billion Ghana cedis. These are bills waiting to be paid now. I don't even know how much was budgeted in 2025 for the health ministry. But can we reasonably expect that they even have the financial leeway to solve some of these problems?
Okay, well, I need to make a confession here before I answer that question. I was one of the discussants at the post-budget, workshop for MPs. I was one of the speakers. So I have a good understanding of the health budget because I've made a presentation to our MPs on. So that is a confession I have to make. That said, the bill, you see, I don't even know how to start. The debt as per the budget is 10.35 billion.
Okay.
But that doesn't include the Agenda 111 bill. And that was one of the things I raised in my presentation. It doesn't include the Agenda 111 bill. So if you look at the appendices of our budget, there's a whole of 10.35 billion. And yes, the budget of the Ministry of Health has gone up by 9.3%, well, by 23.2% from the 2024 budget, which is 9.3% of the total government spend. So looking at that, you would think that, oh, they've gotten a bit more money. But then they have a debt. But you have to realize that when they do the budget as well, they would always have item lines for each expenditure. If you look at the budget, the infrastructural fund that has been voted for the whole country is 200 million Ghana cedis.
200 million Ghana cedis.
Yes, you can go and check Appendix 4A. It's there in plain black and white. You can go and check it. Out of these 200 million Ghana cedis, 60 million has been committed already for La General Hospital, and 20 million to build two, nursing training colleges. So that's left with 120 million, unless the government is going to tell us that they are going to find the money for somewhere. Then the government is not saying how they are going to pay this 10.3 billion debt. So we don't even know whether the debt is going to be paid out of the Ministry of Health budget, or like the finance minister did with other things when the e-levy came, they are going to absorb the debt centrally as part of government debt, which would free money for the Ministry of Health. If they did that, then yes, the Ministry of Health will have a lot more money. But to answer the key question, is this going to be solved, would take you to the fact that we need to be intentional. Nothing is solved because you had money. Things are solved because you were intentional about it and made a concerted effort that you were going to fix this. And that is why I go back and I ask the question. So for those 23 years that we've had MPs and these MCs in TAFO, what have they been doing? They've not been intentional. I'm sorry. They've not been intentional. And that is why I am calling the MPs and the MCs out. Because I saw one of the MPs walking around in like the Wawawa hospital saying they have to be operational. Meanwhile, in his backyard. But then you know me, I call it safe street. In his backyard. Look at the carnage. Look at the shambles of the health system that his people are using. And you see, this is the sort of thing. But I know people would go, oh, and why is he calling this person? We cannot continue this way. When I look at the budgets, that is why I do the health research and I decide to work in civil society and not go into parties. The work I do is for me to look at the numbers critically and look at our needs assessment and look at the manifesto. Like I told the parliamentarians, I said, when I'm looking at budgets, I don't just look at the budget. I look at your manifesto and say, what have you promised the Ghanaian? Because that's your social contract with the Ghanaian. Then I look at your policy statement, which is part of the budget, to see if your policy statement is in line with the budget you have with your manifesto. Then I check whether you have put away enough money to ensure that this is realized. And in the same way, if I look at a needs assessment document, I look at it in the same way that what is the MP in the place doing? If these are the needs of the people, is the MP standing on the floor of Parliament, which is a place of records, and touting this on a daily basis that our people are being subjected to a health facility that is not fit for purpose? Is it being touted? If your journalists haven't gone there, would this be public knowledge? And that is how I answer the question. That is how people like myself are not surprised, but people like you may be surprised. Because the people who are supposed to do the advocacy for the people down there are not doing it. Their voices are not being heard loud enough. It took a journalist from multimedia to put this in the public domain. Is the journalist paid to do the advocacy on behalf of the electorate in TAFO? Come on, let's get serious sometimes.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a bit of a bleak outlook, but that's what I suppose that's what the feathers are predicting from what you've paid attention to. If they haven't prioritized it, then certainly we can't expect it to get solved.
Yeah, let me give you a final thing on this. You see that in what do you call it, policy, they say that if something is not measured, if something is not identified, it cannot be planned for. If it's not planned for, it cannot be measured. If it's not measured, it wouldn't be delivered.
Yeah.
So the fact that the thing is not being mentioned and has only been mentioned now, the people of Tafu should not expect any delivery in that hospital. And who has to mention it? Is it not the people that they vote for and the people who are appointed to be MMCs and all that? And the assemblymen in the area?
Well. Kwame, so thanks for, as always, calling a spade and painting a clear picture for us. We appreciate your time with us.
Thank you.
Kwame Sarpong Asiedu is D&D Fellow on Public Health at CDD Ghana.